consistency is key.
Hello and welcome to What's on Your Plate, the place for food, mood and well-being.
Hello!
Hello.
Happy New Year. Can we still say that?
Yeah, I think so. Happy New Year to you.
Happy New Year.
Kind of Happy New Year.
This episode, we were planning on chatting all about setting our goals for 2021 and how to move forward in them and how goal setting encourages our self-esteem. However, it feels like that isn't the right timing. Read the room, guys.
We thought that given the current situation, it would be good to chat about the national lockdown. Woo!
Yes, lockdown number 3.
It's a bit like London buses. They come in threes. So hopefully this is the last one.
So what's the thing about threes?
3 is the magic number.
That's too positive. Don't they say bad things come in threes? Yeah.
I've Googled it because everything is answered on Google. If an unfortunate event has already occurred twice, it will almost likely occur a third time. Bad things come in threes. Oh.
Yeah, exactly. So let's fingers crossed that this be the last lockdown.
Definitely. So we thought we'd have a little bit of a chat about that and about how we're feeling and also about how Christmas went. And we'd love to know how you are and what you got up to over Christmas and how you're feeling about this latest lockdown. Let's start with our food, mood and views. Francesca, what is your food, mood and views?
Oh, food. So this time round, I've not been doing as much baking. I think we all got a little bit bored of banana bread. Not that anyone ever can, but wraps is the thing right now in my house with my housemates. So wraps with any kind of exactly. You can go really veggie with falafel and hummus and it's delicious, or you can have chicken, and I've been making chicken thighs in hoisin sauce, and it's so simple because you can just get the chicken thighs. You can get them really cheap from anywhere, Lidl, wherever you like to shop. The hoisin sauces, you can always get it in so many different forms, ones that you stick in the fridge or ones in bottles that you keep in the cupboard and they keep for ages, and it's quite cheap. You just slather the sauce over the chicken thighs and you leave them in the oven for like an hour and a half, and then they come out and they're kind of like crispy burnt skin on the top and then the really juicy chicken, and you just peel all the meat off and stick it in a wrap with some mayo or yogurt, whatever you want to put in there. And then we're making cucumber salads, like they do in Chinese restaurants, and it's our new favorite thing.
I know that you're not a big TikTok fan, but there is a wrap thing on TikTok. It might have made its way to Instagram, I'm not sure. Have you seen that?
Yes, I know, I'm desperate to try it. I've seen one actually, and they have it kind of is like southern fried chicken. They slice it up and then they put cheese in the next section, and I think like hot sauce and mayo on the next one, and then lettuce in, and they fold it all over, and it's so good. Mood, hibernation. That's how I feel right now. I'm not feeling all that social. I'm really wanting to I'm basically just wanting to just crawl back into my room, back into the bed, be cozy and warm, stick on a candle, just feel relaxed. I don't feel unhappy. I just feel like a bear. Hibernating bear. Viewed. There are quite a lot of people I've spoken to recently that are also watching this. So tell me if you've seen it. But it is kind of an 18 plus show, but the Vikings.
I've heard of it, and it comes up loads on my Prime. When they put in an advert before what you're going to watch. But yes. I haven't actually sat down to engage with what it's all about.
Well,
apart from Vikings, which I kind of guess.
The clue is in the title. No, I'm joking. Basically, it's Ragnar Lothbrok. It follows his story, and he was actually a real person in the time where the Vikings roamed the earth, and it kind of follows him and the story of his wives and his sons and what happens with them. I wasn't really into it for the first few episodes. I thought I'm not so sure, but when I persisted I was like, oh my goodness, and you just kind of get hooked into it and you just want to binge it. So it's been great. And what about you? What's your food, mood and viewed?
Well, going back to TikTok, I saw something from Court Snacking, who I love watching. This is bread pizza, and it's basically taking some slices of bread, putting ketchup and cheese and some basil, and then you break an egg in the middle and bake it for 7 minutes. And do you know what? I was like, this isn't going to be good, but I wouldn't call it pizza. It's not pizza. It's like a fancy dippy egg. That's what I'd call it. A fancy dippy egg, but I'm all in. Might be a regular snack during lockdown. My mood,
Ooh.
I would totally agree with you in terms of hibernation. I'm just really tired. I find that I wake up and I'm tired, and it's not to do with lack of sleep. It might be to do with screen time, but it might also be because I have removed coffee from my diet for January. Mainly, I was removing it to see if that was one of the things that was affecting my energy levels. And I think happily, I can say I don't think it does affect my energy levels negatively. So I'm looking forward to exactly. I'm looking forward to the end of January where I can have a massive coffee. But I'm thinking no one wants to see me on the 1st of February because I'll probably be sky high on caffeine.
Viewed well. I have fallen into the Marvel universe since Christmas. I absolutely love Marvel. I might like DC a little bit as well. And I have just watched the first 2 episodes of WandaVision. Really different, really weird. I didn't think I was liking it, but then I am, because you know that it's not quite what it seems. It feels a little bit Truman Show, but I think it's more than that. Really, really looking forward to every Friday when Disney Plus put out a new episode. Let's see what phase 4 of the Marvel universe is going to look like.
I was interested when you said about hibernating though, because I listened to a podcast and I would love to tell you who it was, but I've listened to too many lately. And they were talking about a woman who wrote a book called Wintering. And it's all about the fact that in this country, in this area, we don't winter in terms of it doesn't get that cold that we have to haul up inside. And she was talking about how we need to sometimes embrace the bleak and embrace the sadness and embrace the hibernating kind of wanting to hunker down, and that's as much part of life as embracing happiness, because sadness isn't the opposite of happiness. Although that feels like, well, why would I want to be sad? Actually, you know, maybe it's okay to be sad at the moment, and maybe it's okay to want to hibernate and want to hunker down, and maybe it's okay that we're all a bit tired, but maybe we also need to be making sure that we're balancing that with putting in good habits and good self-care and talking to people at the same time. Like you said, you're okay with the fact that you're hibernating, yeah?
Absolutely. And I really am on board with what you've just said about, you know, allowing the sadness. There's so much toxic positivity, I think, sometimes, where you're just forced into, even if you are feeling a bit low, you're told to kind of, you know, buck up, be British, you know, pull yourself together. But actually, it's totally fine if you're not feeling fine. And that if you just need some time, where you need a bit of time on your own, you need to hibernate, crawl into bed, watch something you enjoy, read something you enjoy, write something down.
I totally agree. And I think it's okay if actually you are feeling good and that you are feeling positive. But I think you're right. This kind of, you must feel this way, you must feel okay, means that we sometimes push down our emotions. And it's really important to say sadness and depression are not the same thing. They are chemically different. And sadness is part of depression. You can have sadness and not be depressed. And I would say at the moment, that's probably where I'm at. There are things that I can do that make myself happy, but we'll go on to that. Thinking about Christmas. So last time we talked, we were in a completely different place. You could have 3 families when we recorded our Christmas special. A lot changed in a week.
It sure did. Completely different.
You were going to come back here to Kent.
Yeah, sadly, of course, we all know that couldn't happen. It wasn't bad. I had a lovely Christmas with my housemates and my boyfriend, and that was really nice. It was completely different than what we'd all expected, though, because some of my housemates live up north with their families. So it's, just completely opposite than what we all expected.
Yeah, I think a lot of people, for a lot of us, it was completely different. For me, I felt it was less of a shock because we'd already made the decision that me and one other person were going to do Christmas together, and because we're both single households, that was actually allowed under the rules. I think I'd have crumbled if it had been that you can't literally leave your house. We've got all the food, we've got all the drinks, we'd got everything we needed. So although I felt really sad for other people, I didn't actually have to make many changes myself. We went for a really long walk in the afternoon, which was really nice to get outside. Yeah, it just felt like a really relaxed day. The weird thing for me, I think, is I'm very aesthetically or atmospherically driven. And so not going out of my house for a few days and then coming back, I realised that has left me with the feeling that there's not been this feeling of, oh, right, we're going into the new year and something new starting, because I haven't had that almost break in not, I've just been inside, which is the same for many people. And I wonder if a lot of people, that's why we're struggling, because we haven't had that natural break that we know emotionally separates the year.
Yeah, the change of scenery. Yeah, absolutely.
One of the presents that I absolutely loved was a journal. I love journaling. I find it really good for my mental health. And so I was really thankful because I couldn't find a journal. It's really hard to find a journal online because I like to pick them up and look through them and fill the pages and see the lines and all that. So I got one of those, but I also got an object which I ended up having to text the person because I actually didn't know what it was.
No. What was it?
It's a plastic straw that folds up and you can take it out with you when you go places. But what I was getting confused on was there's this bit of metal in it as well. And I was like, is this some kind of like musical instrument, or like, I don't know what this is. And it was just the cleaning device for cleaning the straw.
Oh my God, that's amazing.
So that was a bit weird.
I mainly got presents that I'd chosen myself, but I did get two very lovely presents. One is a candle that is on right now.
Lovely.
And you know what? I wasn't really that much of a candle person, and I have had it on night and day since Christmas, and I just find it really soothing. Really soothing. Just the flickering light and the nice smell, and it just makes my environment more calm. So I like that. And I also got this spray called Deep Sleep Pillow Spray.
Oh, I've heard about it. Is it This Works? From This Works?
This Works. And I mean, I think it's a very expensive spray, but it was a nice gift, and I've been using that, and it just smells of lavender, and it's so lovely. You spray it on your pillow, and I'm not somebody that always sleeps very well. I actually like to be distracted by noise before I'm going to sleep, which is probably a bit of an odd one. Now I've got the app called Calm, and I put that on. I either listen to a story or I listen to sort of background noise of the rain or that kind of thing, and then I feel calmer before I go to sleep. But the spray seems to have been a pretty good present. I'm really enjoying that.
Thinking about Christmas then, and not playing into the toxic positivity of everything was great, was there good and bad when it came to Christmas this year?
I think over Christmas I was sad that I couldn't be with my family, but as it all went quite positively in the end, it was more a feeling of like a bit of diet shame.
Okay.
Yeah, it was a bit of an interesting one, because I think Christmas is a time where we spoke previously in our last podcast about indulgence and how it's completely fine. But I'm still somebody that sometimes gets the guilt of overindulging. And so when there were, Ferrero Rochers or Heroes or whatever are being passed about, the ones that are come in the big boxes, and you have quite a lot of them, or you have a really big plate of Christmas dinner, and then everyone goes, "Oh, I've got no room for a dessert," and you think, "I do."
Absolutely, amen.
But that was something I struggled with internally, and I'm sure most people or some people do. But I'm feeling much more positive now, and I figured consistency is key. So just as long as you've got something that works for you, and you keep it up rather than dipping in and out of it, then I think that's the main thing. And how did you feel over Christmas?
I think most of the time I felt positive. On Christmas Day itself, I felt really positive, really energized. Definitely that between Christmas kind of thing, I found quite restful, but I almost don't want it to be restful, because that's all I'm doing at the moment is resting. So the time between Christmas, for the last probably 5 years, I used to reflect on the year that's gone and to write down things that I'm thankful for, to look through my journal and about the things that I write. Then also thinking about where I'm at in terms of what I'm doing with my life and where I want to get to. And so I'd spend those few days reviewing, then looking forward and setting some goals and setting some intentions. That usually makes me feel really positive. And I think it has, but I think also starting January with a lockdown, I think just made me feel really frustrated. Living on my own and working from home is difficult for an extrovert, and I'm very extrovert. So yeah, I think it's been a really interesting time. Definitely last lockdown I started and I was excited. I was getting to learn new things. This lockdown, it's like, So I need to think about the things that energized me the last time and trying to build them into my life now.
I am all for the feeling what you need to feel over Christmas and kind of figuring it out. And I was kind of like the same when they were kind of announced the next lockdown. I thought, okay, unsurprising because we needed it or need it. But also, yeah, I think probably the last lockdown I suffered more than this one. But that's because I put into place changes because I knew I needed to kind of survive being indoors all that time again.
Is it okay?
What were some of the positive things of 2020, just so we remind ourselves that there might have been one or two positive things?
One of my favourite memories was, now I know I'm hitting a slightly wrong age group here, but I'm pretty sure everyone has heard of the Spice Girls.
Of course.
And me and some friends did a Spice Girls night on Zoom. You know, Zoom parties were the thing of 2020. And I don't know why, but it just makes me laugh. I think another thing, a bit more serious than that, was I have loved discovering both small businesses and local businesses that I want to support.
That's such a good one.
So I follow.
Just say, that's a very good one.
I love, this is a small business, not a local business. Billa Beauty, Billa Beauty, which is a Black-owned business, and it's just beautiful. And I bought their highlighter, and it's made with cocoa butter, and it just smells. I just want to smell it. Shopping local, shopping and supporting small businesses more than going out and buying loads and loads of things. And so most of my Christmas presents were from local or small businesses. So that's definitely something that was positive in 2020. What about you?
I think that's great. I actually discovered a lot more Black-owned businesses after the Black Lives Matter movement, which was so important. Yeah, and I've actually done a lot of research recently on biracial hair, as one person that I live with is mixed race. And that's been so interesting. And most of the products or hair care products are aimed towards Caucasian people. So it's really interesting I've learned so much in 2020 in terms of that. And I think it's so important that we just keep learning, keep asking, keep growing as a nation. So I'm so excited for that, moving into that. I would also say my highlight of 2020 was moving house. I rent and living in London, and previously I was living in quite a large place with lots of rooms, and it was very busy and always messy. And now there's 5 of us in a smaller, calmer neighborhood, and it was funny. The other evening I lay down and I thought to myself, I can't hear anything. And it was a complete blessing of just being able to go to sleep when it was quiet. So that's my highlight. And also just kind of rediscovering walking. I mean, I love walking. It's probably my favorite form of exercise. I rediscovered it in terms of it became a release. So I would think, I'm feeling so pent up and I just want to get out. And then like everybody is right now, I think. And then over the weekend, especially when friends were free and you can meet up with one other person, or even people who I live with, you just go, let's go for a wander, and just get out for an hour and you have a calm walk and you can chat or you can be quiet, and it just feels like a tension release.
I've discovered in the last few days this guy called Rick Buller Fitness on YouTube, and on days when you don't want to go out and walk, he does walking workouts. And it's basically to get your step count up, and you can do it in your front room, and it is like the 2-step kind of stuff going on, but it's brilliant and it's so fun and it makes you feel really, really good. Self-care takeaway. What are you putting in place to make you feel like you can get through this lockdown?
So just thinking of things that are keeping me sane, there's a few things that I've changed up this time round so I don't go slowly mad. A bit like a woman from a period drama. And now I've said I'm hibernating. They say, oh, I'm going to take to the bed, and then they just sit in the bed. I think I'm doing that. Take to the bed. So yeah, I just sit in the bed. Not that I'm recommending that everybody should just sit in bed all day, because it's not healthy. But but if you're feeling a bit stressed and you stick a candle on and you sit in the bed just for a bit, just so you're warm and cozy, because it's just so cold outside. You can't have the heating on all day long because it's just expensive. So wriggle into bed and get really comfortable. And then what I've been doing while sitting there is I'm trying not to constantly watch TV, otherwise it just gives me headaches, because we're not in natural light a lot of the time. And I've never ever been very good at drawing, but I have had a lot of recommendations. I suffer sometimes with a bit of anxiety, and so I've been told that adult colouring books are really good. It doesn't mean that it's like, adult as in rude colouring books. It's just a book full of animals that are really intricately drawn, and I just have to colour it in, and I'm finding it just so soothing to sit and just do that. And I'm enjoying it so much. I'm not very good. I come out of the lines too much, and I have been mocked for it, but it's really, really soothing. Over Christmas, we watched so many Harry Potters, and I'm such a huge fan, and so is my sister. And it's something that we really bonded over growing up. I used to queue up as a teenager and beg my mum, and she would walk me into town at silly o'clock midnight when the new book came out, and I would wait in line, and I'd be so excited, and I'd grab it and I'd read it all night, and I'd be tired at school, and then I'd get home and I'd pick it up again, I'd read it, and I'd read it in the car, and it's just something that just reminds me of just a time that was completely joyful. And so I've bought, which is an absolute bargain, I think, for £35, I've bought all 7 of the book, and I'm just sitting reading those. So what about you?
I was chatting to someone recently about the fact that we are missing the normal humour of life at the moment, because we're around the same people, or we're around not many people. It was recommended to me to watch comedy, and then the other day I watched just a short YouTube clip of a guy called James, and I want to say Veitch is his name. I'm not sure how you pronounce his surname, but he does this comedy sketch on being a roommate or a housemate and having rubber ducks, and it is probably not that funny to most people, but for some reason I find it so funny, and I had that proper giggle where it like is right, where it hurts because it's in your stomach, and after a while you feel like you've done a little bit of a workout. So that's one of the things I'm putting in place, is to watch comedy, because it actually did make me feel better. Another thing that I'm putting in place is, because I am an extrovert, but like you, because I'm feeling tired and sad, I want to not see people, because I think, well, they wouldn't want to see me like this. And so I'm trying to intentionally connect with people each day, trying to move each day, even if that's not doing a workout, even if it's just walking around the block. So one of the things I'm trying to do is read for 20 minutes. So I just set a timer. It might be a audiobook if my eyes are really tired from looking at the screen. Finding that really, really helpful. Yeah, those are the sort of things that I'm putting in place. We've said before, it's very different, but I also want to just put a bit of hope into it, which is this. When I'm at the gym, which is obviously not at the moment, one of the things I like to do is strength training. If I go to the gym and I say, well, I want to improve my strength, they will give me a set of exercises that I just have to do repeatedly. I'm not going to strengthen myself by doing them once. It's a habit. It's putting in a boring habit, but over time you notice the difference. And I think that's what we've got to think about in this lockdown. It might feel like we might be doing things and we're not seeing any difference. So I'm reading every night, but it's not making me feel better. Or I'm journaling every day, but it's not making me feel better. Because habits are what lead to goals. If our goal at the moment is to get through lockdown, which I think for most of us is, then we need to put in those healthy habits, which we know, even though they're boring and we don't see the results straight away, do have a long-term effect.
Like we said earlier, consistency is key.
I think we are at the end of
I know.
episode 2.
Very, very different topic, but I'm glad we've done it. I'm really glad we've done it.
Absolutely. So next month is February, and our topic is going to be on self-love and self-care. We are looking for a young person who would want to come and join us. If you're a young person and you'd like to join us, get in touch. So until next time, this has been What's on Your Plate. Have a great January. You will progress. There is hope and there is light at the end of the tunnel.
Happy lockdown, everybody.
Happy lockdown.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank you for listening to What's on Your Plate.